Hey everyone, how's it going today? And welcome back to another third stimulus check unemployment benefits extension update. And also happy Friday, or happy Easter weekend, or happy Good Friday, or just happy day, depending on when you are watching this, because this will probably be relevant over the next couple of days. But in today's update, I really want to talk about the $10,200 unemployment tax cut that some of you guys have been waiting for, looking for more information about, because we do have new info to share about that. The great news is that we now officially have estimated delivery days for when they're officially going to start sending them. And then we also have just other general relatively important information to make sure that you're able to physically get it, including stuff about the amendments, a few changes that might have happened depending on when you last were updated about that. So we're going to cover everything in today's update. So as always, we're going to get straight to it. But before we begin, make sure you smash the like button and the light up. We finally have lots of great news that have been coming out and have already came out, and feel free again if you're interested to maybe subscribe for similar videos like this, and also put other videos at the end talking all about the other programs like unemployment stimulus, tax cuts, all sorts of it. Really just goes on. And feel free to comment any questions, thoughts about honestly just really anything at all. So with that being said, let's get started. Now, I want to start by maybe taking a very quick minute by basically sharing the unemployment numbers right here, because there are always some people that are just simply wondering, and we've talked about how this is kind of relevant in, a couple of the past videos. So this last recent week, we had about 719,000 people file for traditional unemployment and 237,000 people file for the PUA unemployment. So if you guys remember the previous week before last week, I believe about 658,000 people filed for traditional. So in other words, this week now, so this recent week, we actually went up again. I think the great news is that we are now trending, so we're still under the 1 million mark if you include both traditional and PUA, but nonetheless it is still really high. Now, I do notice that I believe that they recently just released statistics about certain jobs that have actually been added, so on the reverse end. And I think that overall they did find, though, however, is that even though the claims are still really high, the maybe again brighter or neutral news, depending on how you look at it, is that the unemployment rate is actually still dropping overall, because even though there are people getting on unemployment, there are actually even more jobs that are now being created or being brought back with the economy and everything basically now starting to open up again. But I think overall is that because the numbers are still relatively uncertain, that's kind of why we've also mentioned, for example, in one of the past videos, I believe it's the one called Fourth Bill, and I'll also put it at the end screen. Maybe subscribe if you guys haven't done so and you're interested in other similar videos, about how a lot of these unemployment numbers are going to play a very huge role to whether or not we get a further extension and what goes on in the coming months, especially going forward, from all of the different unemployment programs, including the booster, the PUA, PUC, and really just the entire list really just goes on. Now, we also did receive information from the IRS, so maybe onto a lot brighter news now, is that they've officially stated and announced that they are hoping to now officially send out the $10,200, or just depending on how much you qualify for. So it's not an entire $10,000, but it's just up to, depending on how much unemployment you're waived for. They're hoping to finally implement that program next month, in pretty much May of 2021, which is crazy because we're now officially into the second quarter of this year. As crazy as to think. I think the general idea is that they're hoping to try to send out a lot of the tax credit payments or make the adjustments for people that have already filed taxes right around the time of next month. And they're pretty much going to be doing it over weekly by weekly all the way throughout into the summer. Now, there is actually one really important information to really share, and it's about the tax amendment. So some of you guys may or may not already know about it, but the IRS has stated that if you have already filed your taxes, then the great news is that you do not have to file a tax amendment. You can just basically sit still and relax and wait for them to move, which is a great thing, because at least it does mean that it's a little bit easier, to sometimes just be able to relax a bit than to have to go through like some kind of procedure. However, there is actually one exception that I think not a lot of people are talking about, and it's really that even though you do not have to file an amendment in order to get the unemployment tax cut. However, one thing it is important to note though is that if you are trying to get another program related to taxes, so for example like earned income tax, basically if there's another program or another kind of adjustment that you may have to make adjustments to related to your taxes, then you may have to make an amendment. It's just that if you did have to make an amendment, it would not have to be because of the unemployment tax cut, but you may still have to do it. So I think, but just for a different reason than unemployment. So I think it's just really, really important to note that, because if you do have to do that, then it's probably just something to really note as soon as you can. Now on to some other maybe just general important news also is that they did also adjust the income requirements a little bit, and this kind of why it kind of ties into that is because, as most of you guys know, is that the cap in order to qualify for the unemployment program, this tax cut, is that you have to be making as an adjusted gross income of under $150,000. However, back then, before they made this adjustment, it used to be that you had to make that income in its entirety. The great news is that now they have actually changed it where you don't have to calculate your unemployment into this income. So what does this basically mean is so for example, if let's say before, if you include all of the income, including your unemployment income, you were making $155,000, then you would not be able to qualify for the tax cut. But now, for example, if say you were making $140,000, but you were also making $15,000 on your unemployment, which is actually a very realistic amount actually, then the great news is that you would qualify because they now do not use your unemployment income to factor into that $150,000. Now you might be wondering, if you're on unemployment, who could be possibly making $150,000? And I think that most of you guys should probably be set. This income requirement really applies mostly with a lot of joint filers. So for example, like if maybe one of the couple happens to be unemployed, but then the other one happens to be a very high-paying doctor who is making several hundred six-figure grands or something like that, that would really be where this would really, really apply, just because then in that case, both of you guys would be filing for your taxes together. And I do believe is that they recently did announce that I think the average person last year received about $14,000 in unemployment benefits. So these numbers are actually, they're actually very, very realistic representations of what many people, well not many, but certainly a population of people likely will be going through. But that's pretty much what I really wanted to cover in today's update. So the general idea is that if you have happened to already file taxes, or say for example, maybe you already had taxes taken out in your unemployment income from last year, is that then the great news is that you should qualify for some kind of tax refund. So this tax refund is hoping to finally send out and deliver in May of 2021. So pretty much next month. Now, if it so happens that maybe you don't necessarily have a refund per se, but you're just simply someone that's waiting for the actual adjustments to get those taxes written off away from your unemployment, then that also should start to get implemented. The general idea is that any kind of income adjustments, so whether you're trying to get the tax code or you're trying to get a tax refund to get money physically given back to you, all of that stuff is that they're hoping to finally deliver and make all of the adjustments next month in pretty much May of 2021. But I would say really beyond this is supposedly most tax softwares have already mentioned that they're now officially ready and have made adjustments. TurboTax is ready, HR Block is ready. So if you guys haven't done your taxes, then now is pretty much the time. You guys can feel free to just do it anytime at this point now. And then if you guys have really any particular questions or need any kind of assistance in terms of making those adjustments, I'd probably say the best place to really go to would probably be either your accountant. You could probably ask your personal accountant, especially if you already pay your personal accountant anyway, so hopefully they're able to do this service for you after all being their client and all. Or honestly, the customer service line to many different tax softwares, if you use a particular tax software, should be pretty useful, more or less. But overall, pretty much the summary is that if you guys are still waiting for any kind of adjustments, it's at the unemployment tax credit for $10,200 or up to $20,000 if you guys are filing as a married couple and both of you guys are unemployed, or really just up to however amount you guys are qualified for. They're hoping to make all of those adjustments in pretty much the near future, in basically something by the end of next month. So that is the really, really great news. So if you guys happen to have overpaid your taxes or you're looking for a refund or an adjustment, amendment. And then of course also with the amendment stuff is that most of you guys do not have to file an amendment. We just talked about those very specific cases you maybe will have to, but I think most of you guys should be relatively safe from that. But that's pretty much what I really just wanted to cover in today's update, so maybe consider smashing the like button and subscribing if you guys hopefully found that insightful, you're looking for similar videos. And as always, feel free to comment any questions, thoughts about honestly just really anything at all. So that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. Stay safe, stay well. Happy Friday, happy Good Friday, happy weekend, happy Easter weekend, or just happy day, depending on when you are watching this. So with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. Stay safe, stay well, and I hope to see you guys next time. Thank you guys so much again.